Hello and welcome to Women's World on Global Television, where we have bold, honest, and necessary conversation about realities shaping women of today. I am Kike Lomo Okeri, and I'm joined by my co-host Priscilla Obasi and Anita Patrick. Hi, girls.
Hi.
Always a delight to be here.
Yeah.
Amazing day to talk about issues around women. We know it's the season where women are virtually speaking up and ensuring that we're no longer in the kitchen anymore. We're now in the
Interesting is women are speaking up, women are coming out to do things, they are even participating in the electoral process. It's amazing.
And the good thing is that the reserve seat for women has actually given women more bold steps, not just in the federal level, but across the state. So what a way to start up leadership for women.
Well, I kind of have a contrary opinion, but I mean, we'll talk about that.
All right, today we are looking at questions that challenges the image of success. Many people admire both, rarely question breaking the rules or breaking down the silent struggles behind successful women across boardrooms, government offices, media space, and homes. Women are achieving remarkable milestones, charting ceilings, setting records, and redefining leadership. From outside, it looks like strength, confidence, and control. But behind the success story, there is often another reality that is less visible: silent pressure, emotional exhaustion, constant expectation, and the burden of behaving to keep it all together no matter the cost.
Oh, that's a powerful one, Kikelomo, because from the outside, success often looks confident. It looks like, confidence, like control, like achievement. But behind the many accomplished women, there's often a different story, like the pressure they go through, the exhaustion that comes with the success, the expectations, and the silent battles that no one sees. So today, let's talk about that a bit.
Well, Priscilla, I like that exactly because we're talking about the woman who is excelling at work, leading in business, holding families together, yet struggling with mental load, emotional burnout, and societal judgment. And the big question is, why do so many women feel they must hold it all together even when they are falling apart inside and kicking?
Absolutely, Anita. It is the pressure to be perfect, the expectation to be strong at all times, or a system that applauds success but ignores the cost of achieving it. Stay with us as we unpack the hidden emotional weight behind achievement and ask the tough question: are women truly thriving or simply surviving in silence? Right after the break. Long, women were told to stay quiet, to endure in silence, to face challenges alone. But silence never define us.
Women are actually one of the best peace builders you can come across because they will build peace in the home front, they will build with their children, they will build in the community, they will build at their meetings and in their churches.
Across Nigeria and beyond, women are breaking barriers, from entrepreneurs building thriving businesses to mothers transforming communities to everyday women.
Women's World celebrates all sides of womanhood. We share untold stories of women from pain to victory.
This is more than a show, it is a platform for women to be seen, heard, and to be empowered.
Every story matters, every voice counts because women are empowered to change families, communities, and the nation.
Join us as we showcase women's untold stories.
From pain to victory.
This is Women's World on Global Television.
Your story, your health, your power. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's Women's World on Global Television, where we have bold, honest, and necessary conversation about the realities shaping women today. And joining us on today's discussion is a very distinguished voice in Nigerian media and a strong advocate for conversation around women, leadership, and society. She is a broadcaster, television host, and the managing director of one of the Nigeria's leading talk show, known for consistently driving bold, thought-provoking discussion that reflects the realities of women in today's world. We are pleased to welcome Morayo Afolabi Brown to Women's World.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And Priscilla, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being here.
You're welcome on Women's World.
It's good to have you. It's
good to see you.
How do you feel being at the other end? Because this is like something you used to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I was watching your reaction when we were talking and introducing the program. I wanted to just hear from you how you feel.
Well, it's different, I must say. I'm used to being at this side of the table, but it's fun. I mean, in recent times I've done quite a bit of interviews, so it's exciting to be questioned and asked for insight. So it's good. It's good.
I'll talk about one of your recent outings, but we will dive straight into the conversation.
All right, Morayo, you have spent over 2 decades in media and more than 12 years shaping conversation on your views. A show that became a daily voice for many Nigerians. Looking back, what would you say the journey has done to you, not just professionally, but personally?
Well, I mean, thank you again for that question, because the truth is, 12 years every single day is no small feat. The daily live audience show and the fact that we brought women together from different walks of life. I was very specific in making sure that we had different kinds of women, Muslim, Christian, from the north, from the south, from the east, single, married, the whole works, just to have a good array of women and to hear their views, because they also have a right to have an expression and thought when it comes to the issue of governance, health, and life. So I feel fairly quite accomplished, I wouldn't lie. I feel that we've been able to successfully sustain a show which has actually birthed quite a number of similar shows. So it's my pride that many TV stations have been able to replicate that format, because the truth is that women must always be given a platform to express. And I think every woman deserves that opportunity to be able to speak their own truth to power. So I have a sense of fulfillment. It's been quite inundating to see all the accolades and the reviews from people. I feel well accomplished. So that journey hasn't been easy, but I thank God for the grace and for the strength. Because honestly, I think he was able to send me the right women, the right team, the right crew that understood the brief. Because it wasn't about them; it was about what the assignment was, which was giving women the platform. So I think all of us in that group understood the assignment. That's why me leaving was, for me, was a sense of accomplishment that I can hand over the baton, because these ladies are able to continue it and push the vision forward as long as they wish to.
Okay, so you didn't just host a show, in my opinion. I mean, you helped shape national conversations, especially around women issues. At what point did you realize that your voice was no longer just for media, but for influence? And then you've also transitioned from your view to the Morayo show right now. How was the transition like for you? How are you coping with the new realities of owning your own space?
I mean, the realities are real. Being an entrepreneur is a whole different ballgame, trust me. When you have somebody else handling salaries, electricity, generator, it's a different ballgame. When you are now the one having to look at your resources and say, okay, what is more important, how do I do it? So it's different, but it's also exciting. I love it. I think hosting and creating your view for me was something that gave me a sense of fulfillment. And because, as you said, we have created that platform, we have shaped voices, we have influenced thoughts and conversations. And I felt that I reached a point where, what next? Because the truth is that sometimes when you talk for so long, and you see that the society, there's still visible decadence. We haven't fully totally reorientated Nigerians, because I thought in 12 years we've accomplished some kind of reorientation, which we have, but it's quite saddening to see that in some cases we're still not there yet. So there's a lot of work to do. Just one thing to talk, another thing to start doing. So that's why I said, what's the next phase? Yes, we can continue talking about it, which is important, but there's something that is missing in the average Nigerian: joy. We're angry. Many shows are either calling out, bashing, anger, they are speaking to power, they are upset, they are debating, they are bashing. Everybody's just expressing something. We're forgetting to live. Forgetting to just be Nigerians. Just be happy. Yes, in the midst of chaos, it's hard, but we are also human beings. So I wanted a TV show that reflects joy, happiness, peace, that reminds the man outside, yes, you might be going through a lot of hell, but in this moment, you're just a Nigerian. Come to the show, you dance, share your thoughts in a happy atmosphere. Even my guests, I'm not coming here to bash you, to catch you unawares. I'm just here to hear the other side of you. How are you human? How are you living the human life in this part of the world? That's pretty much what the show is about.
I like the fact that you picked a different perspective to the reality TV show, because the whole lot that we have, just like it has to be bashing, calling out government policies, reforms. But I think as Nigeria, we're very accommodating, and we have a lot of showing our own joy and expressing them through comedy and all the likes. And I like the fact that you had yours in a mix of entertainment and also still passing the message. Let's talk about visibility and the pressure, because you left a very known platform and then you're starting afresh. And you mentioned that it's not easy to be an entrepreneur with all the bills coming around. So let's talk about being constantly judged sometimes when you do a show, or sometimes misunderstood, and your concept of putting out this thing. Has it been part of being visible or opinionated? People might see you in that perspective. How do you handle such pressure? Because your show, I've seen a couple of it, and I see clips that goes out. So how do you handle when you're understood in that space?
I get that question fairly often, because I've gone through my share of bashing. I've gone through my share of being called out. Trust me. I think I have my degree in the bashing. So I think in the early days it hurt me, because in the first, I think the very first one, my husband has wanted me to stop mentioning that example, but it is my reality. But the very first time I got bashed, I think that experience really taught me a few lessons, because I went back to myself. I said, okay, why do you feel so hurt? What caused this hurt? Not the mistake, because people make mistakes. It happens. But I think it was the fact that I was constantly reading the messages, and I felt that I held the opinions of others high. And I think that's how I had to now decompress that a bit. I said, okay, going forward, the rules I've made for myself, I don't read comments on my social media pages, on Facebook, on Instagram. I don't care how you celebrate me. I don't see it. The only time I see is when somebody screen grabs it and sends it to me, or my peers. Okay, this person comment, maybe celebrities have made a comment. Say, please reply them for me, or send a DM, or if somebody is really important, I forward the DM to them. But for me to sit down and read comments, the good, the bad, the ugly, for me, it's just emotionally draining. So that was the way. That's how I was to shield myself. When you bash me, sadly I can't see it. And people come to you, did you see? I said, really? Is that what they said? Don't worry, I'm not even interested. So I have found that it helped me. So that's how I manage it. I have been very, very careful not to. But recently, because I launched my new show, and because it's a new show, I think I have a responsibility to read comments, to understand the thinking. Yes, to understand what people are, how they're receiving the new show, their feedback. So that was important. So in recent, I've started reading just to understand. Okay, what can I fix? How can I, because it's a new baby. So I need to ensure. So and it's happening again. There's the good, there's some bad. So but this time around, I have a husband who has a better understanding. Because in the past, he didn't understand it. He was like, what kind of rubbish is this? That can nobody be cursing my family. And I'm like, no, don't mind them. It can't happen. Say, hey, but they're cursing my children. I said, listen. But now he knows better. And those things don't really matter, because it's about our hearts. What we are doing, as long as we've done something that is right, don't worry about anybody else outside. So now I have to deal with it, because hey, I'm birthing a new child, and I need to make sure that I get the right elements to make it successful. However, I've trained my mind to understand, to separate, compartmentalize things. The good, the bad, and that.
I think the best way is for, just like you said, compartmentalize things is easier for women to, because women have to go through a lot, because it starts well with women finding a balance basically across the board. And I like the fact that you took that as a major way to deal with issues. Kike, you had something?
I was actually thinking of, as in, after 12 years, you have made bold decision to step away and pursue something new. What's that decision? What's the purpose? What's driving that pressure? Is it pressure or a personal thing?
I like that question, and I think one of the reasons why I like that question is because one of the objectives of what I did of pivoting is the fact that many of us broadcasters, We start this business, we start this career, and what's the trajectory? Where do we really end up? Where are we? We start as maybe reporters, a correspondent, then we get on TV, and then we produce, then we're behind the camera, and then we do that for 30 years. And like, what is the next step? And I looked at it both locally and internationally. And I see that our international counterparts are able to do a show to a point and go to their employer. You know what? I'm the face of the show. Let's have a deal. Let's have a conversation where we now co-own the show. I get a percentage of the shares. There's a conversation. I tried to have that conversation, but I realized that our industry or our broadcasting hasn't really gotten to that point where they are willing to share with you, like, you know, you're the face of this show. Let us see what we can do to make sure, that's your salary. Let us see how I can share revenue with you. We haven't gotten to that point. And that's why I had to go back and think to myself, okay, what can I therefore do? And that was why it was important for me to pivot and do something else. And the objective is to let other broadcasters who are in my steps, and listen, yes, you've made a name. Yes, it might not be easy to move. But before you move, make sure you've built enough credibility, enough social capital to move. And that's what I did. I didn't just stand up and say, I'm leaving. I was able to build relationships. I was able to build my own network of people that when I moved, they were asking, how can I support you? What can we do to support you? And that's how I was able to stand. So it's just a way to also encourage other broadcasters out there that, listen, there has to be a future in this our career. Yes, we all can't be TV presenters and big show talk show hosts, but you must dare to dream. Aside from this thing you're doing, there's got to be something next.
Okay, this is the part that drives my curiosity. The first time I saw you, one thing that came to my mind, or a question that came to my mind, she has family. How is she able to manage all of these things? How is it possible to have it all? Career, family, business. Sometimes they say, oh, you can't have it all. Sometimes they say, oh, how have you personally? I've heard you mention your husband once, but how have you? What is the step? I don't want you to give us
general
answer. Yes.
I think lots of women, especially highly influential women, have answered this question in different ways. And one of the things I always stick to, they say that we're all in different seasons at different times. So we handle it in different times. So when I just got the job at TVC, we were living in 1004. We were newly couples, all our savings, when it's got a nice, VI was a nice place, very touche, so we started our family there. And then I got the job at TVC, which was in K2. And as much as VI to K2, my husband and I started saying, Auntie, I know we like this is our VI thing, I know you like it, but your work is K2. You're pregnant. This child needs you. So we will move our bags and baggages to K2.
Wow.
From 1000?
Yes, and we were driving around TVC office. We were driving street to street looking for apartments. And we found somewhere 2 streets after.
Wow.
So it wasn't fancy. We said, this is where we're going to stay because you have a new baby. And I don't want to go where you're traveling and you're going up and down. So it was intentional. So that to the proximity to home was clear. So as I was growing in my career, I could easily go home, even for sometimes lunch, I pick my baby, come back to the office because it was that close. So it was intentional. And then I also had family support. At some point in marriage, I think after about, I think it was 2017, my father-in-law had passed, so my mother-in-law and my grandmother-in-law both came into my house, of course. My mother was like, initially I was like, what is this? But I called my mom. My mom said, I don't want to sleep on your bed. So what is your problem? It's for a season now. And she kind of encouraged me that allowed them. Now, allowing them helped me as a support system because then I could leave the kids. Grandma is there, great grandma is there, and everybody, the whole house is there. So I don't have to worry about children. So it was also a blessing. So I was able to build and do other things, stay in late nights and do things, and I have a support system at home. And then my husband also, he's hands-on with the kids, So I had a fairly good support system. So I was able to balance it. However, as a TV person, people are knowing you, you're talking to governors, you're talking to, you're out there. Again, as I was seeing that my status was changing, it was important for me to carry my spouse along because, hey, you can't just be out there, everybody knows you. You have to say, so I said, okay, as you're knowing me, you must know my husband too. As I'm entering these rooms, I'm entering with him. So they are knowing us together. So bringing him into the picture helped me to balance things because he understood what I had to do. So wherever I couldn't be around, he was able to hold me because he understood what. So he didn't have questions of, I'll be able to go into. He knew everybody I knew. And they had his number just like they had my number. So that was how I managed my own path. So I could move and I could pivot. Even when I had some issues back in my former employment and I wanted to leave, I had to calculate everything. Okay, how do I do it? If I leave this place, what do I do? So it helped me arrange myself, and that's how I was able to manage home, family, and career at the same time.
Have you gotten judgments from that? People look at you and say stuff about maybe family criticism. I know you mentioned that sometimes you look at your DMs and your husband is. Your husband looks at your DMs and he's wondering how do people insult you this way. Are there points where you've gotten people bash you towards the family aspect, like that say she's too out there, like can't she have time for family? How is she managed? People can be so nosy.
Maybe my husband has seen,
or maybe family members, or maybe extended family members.
I think she had a better way to deal with it. That's why she was able to compartmentalize her life and not pay attention, and had a better emotional intelligence to play that part.
I'm not even sure
it's a problem for you, basically, because I think you're able to deal with it. But let's move past that and look at women showcasing their weaknesses. I think there was when you were still doing the review program where there was an issue that was raised, and I think it was about family. I can't remember the exact words, and you had to come explain yourself and clear the air about that part. So I'm looking at it now, because we're broadcasters, like you say, on a daily. This is our life. We don't have. For me, let me use an instance. I don't really have a life aside the daily routine work thing. Some of us tend to soak ourselves in the work because of the passion, and then so when I get questions like how do you balance the home front, I'm asked, why don't you ask a man the same question? As women always have to ask the same question back to back. But I want to know how you've been able to manage the weakness, or how women tend to feel that weakness is not a challenge because you have a life. Because they feel once you've gone through childbearing, you're married, you're limited to certain things. So how do you tell the young woman there, or the young broadcaster there, that life starts with you first? You need to live first, and then find a way of balancing across both.
So I think that life is in phases. The phase I'm in is when the phase Priscilla is in.
Sure.
If you are new in your career, that's where all your grit shows. You are there 9 to 9 p.m. You are there working the numbers. You are all back to back. It's in phases. You pay. I sold those dues. I paid those dues. I've done that part where I was constantly in the office, back to back. The moment I got married, it's slightly reduced, but still I was there. There are times where you're required to be around. So, and then you move. So, for a young broadcaster, you have to have a career path. You have to be very sure what you're doing. Don't just go in there blindly. Who is in front of you? How can you begin to start working, lowering that person and being able to take over eventually? And that's one of the issues I also have with broadcast owners, because you need to build a proper career path for young media practitioners, presenters, because they need to see there's a growth. Somebody can be a TV presenter for 10 years. Like, what's the growth? So there has to be a path where people are going around, they're doing script writing, you're doing editing, you're doing the whole works. So as a young broadcaster, I think for me, balancing was easy because I had family support. I also had friends within the industry who I could reach out to. I had people I can talk to, and we share notes, but that hasn't really been popular. We don't help each other in this industry. I think some groups have tried to form groups, but they haven't done it successfully.
That's true.
I've not seen a network of broadcasters, female broadcasters, coming to say, no, I can be a support system for you. I can help you in this way. We haven't done that. There are a few groups that exist, but they haven't really helped young people. So I think we must take mentorship very seriously and see how we can help people grow their career and build this industry properly. You see, it's still it's still what was handed over to us. We haven't refined it. Broadcasting is exactly, and journalism is what was handed over to us. Young people have now come taking phone, and they're now what they call them, citizen journalists right now. But we, the practitioners, have not properly refined it and redefined what is supposed to be the same. So there's a lot of work for us to do to sustain this industry properly.
So where's the place of emotional intelligence where you have to bring that? I like the fact that you had support system. But let's talk about the work environment, and for you as a woman, how you're able to manage through it with emotional intelligence, where you had competitions. Trust me, we know what our space is. There's a lot of competitions. So how were you able to play emotional intelligence from where you were? Because there's this understanding that where women are gathered, there's always chaos. And so how did you play emotional intelligence that sustained?
The answer to that question is, I have so many different answers to that question. Because I worked in the various capacities. First as managing director, then as director in charge of program, and then as host of your view, managing the ladies. and generally my career. With the ladies, in the early days, balancing was, so in the early days, of course, I made mistakes. My earlier mistake was, out of all the ladies, maybe I'm close to one person in particular. And not because I intentionally went for that friendship, but because she just liked me and we became really close. But unfortunately, that affected all the other ladies. They felt, how come you're close to this person? You don't come to our own house, you go to our own house. There was a lot, and it caused a lot of fights. Yeah. And one thing I wanted to achieve with that show, to show that women can work together and not have the rancor. Yeah. So it caused a major rift amongst the ladies because they felt that I was being partial to somebody. And then that experience made me realize that as a leader, you must have that emotional intelligence of knowing what to do. Yeah. Don't be best friends with anybody. Be neutral. They can all form their own small cliques, but me as a leader, I just stay neutral. That has helped me to manage it. That's how we could last. Because people wonder, how can this much of ladies? There are like 8 of us. Yeah. They are all scheduled different days, and they are still there for how many years, and they are still standing. It's because the leader who I was, I had to ensure that everybody was equally important to me. Whatever I do for A, I do for B. I don't, and now became the anchor, the rallying point. The person that they cook in Morayo is and when everybody goes crazy, come back to Morayo. So that stability helped me to manage all the various emotions. So even there are fights, we know how to handle it, because on television it must not show.
Yeah, of course.
It must not show. So I said all this, but there are times where at the makeup room, they can scatter it. I know. Before they even say, when the cameras are rolling, they're still as soon as that camera goes on, you better switch. Yeah. Switch. And me and your host, I'm there smiling with you like you, and I'm talking you to my eyes like, I hope you are smiling. So it happens, Then career-wise, emotional intelligence is really hard because there's politics. Yeah, I've shared it before many years ago, 2015. I lost my job at TVC due to drama, internal politics. Then, of course, about 7 days later, or 5 to 7 days later, I got the job back, internal politics, all that, a lot was taken from me at that time, emotionally taken from me. It was a tough season for my life. But somehow I stood up. A lot of my guys wanted to support me. This is a tough time. But I survived that season. Eventually then pumped back to become managing director again. So it was a huge testimony. Okay, somebody who was sacked, who was rehired, demoted, now made managing director of the entertainment arm. So it was a serious roller coaster, emotional turmoil for me. But it's reality. That's part of the endurance that you build for me to become an entrepreneur. I have that experience that has made me who I am today. So it's part of the story.
Wow, what an eye-opening conversation we have just had with Morayo Afolabi Brown.
Are we done?
And one thing is clear from this discussion: success is not always effortless. It's as it appears on the outside.
Well, absolutely. We have heard today the success story behind women and the layers of pressure they have to go through, expectations to excel, expectations from every angle, and to remain composed, to be perfect in every role, right? And sometimes the silence around those struggles is louder than the success itself.
Very true, Priscilla. And what stands out is emotional wisdom or intelligence, if you may call it, because many women are achieving greatness, but quietly carrying out burnout, loneliness, and internal pressure. It raises a serious question about what we truly define as success, and at what point it becomes sustainable or unsustainable in the reality of life, basically.
Exactly. Morayo's perspective really reminds us that strength should not mean suffering in silence. Vulnerability is not weakness. It may actually be beginning of healing and balance. Well, let's take a short break now. When we return, we'll shift the conversation to relationship, perception, and power dynamics between men and women. Stay with us. Women were told to stay quiet, to endure in silence, to face challenges alone. But silence never define us.
Women are actually one of the best peace builders you can come across, because they will build peace in the home front, they will build with their children, they will build in the community, they will build at their meetings and in their churches.
Across Nigeria and beyond, women are breaking barriers, from entrepreneurs building thriving businesses to mothers transforming communities to everyday women.
We Women's World celebrates all sides of womanhood. We share untold stories of women from pain to victory.
This is more than a show, it is a platform for women to be seen, heard, and to be empowered. Every story matters, every voice counts because women are empowered to change families, communities, and the nation.
Join us as we showcase women's untold stories.
From pain to victory.
This is Women's World on Global Television.
Your story, your health, your power.
All right, welcome back to Women's World on Global Television. Earlier, we explored the emotional and psychological weight many successful women carry behind closed doors, despite their achievements on the outside.
Priscilla, and from that discussion, one thing became very, very clear. Success is visible, but struggle is often silent. The pressure to keep going, to keep performing, and to keep excelling doesn't always leave the room for rest or reflection, truly, Kike.
Now we move deeper into solutions and realities. How do women begin to find balance, reclaim their well-being, and redefine success on their own terms? On this segment, we will be discussing, are men intimidated by successful women, or women becoming unapproachable?
Well, this is one conversation that sparks debates everywhere: homes, social media, and even workspaces. Priscilla.
Yeah, me too, because while women are rising, actually, relationships seem to be getting more complicated, right? Still with us in the studio is Morayo Afolabi Brown. She is a very distinguished voice in Nigerian media and a strong advocate for conversations around women, leadership, and society. She's a broadcaster, television host, and managing director of one of Nigeria's leading talk shows, consistently driving bold, thought-provoking discussions that reflect the realities of women in today's world. So, ma'am, the conversation,
Right.
Are men being skeptical? Are they scared of women? Are women becoming more approachable? I don't know. Maybe I asked it unapproachable, because people would say the marriages of our mothers or uneducated people have long-lasting marriages than educated people. I don't know what school of thought is that. I don't know what you believe about that school of thought.
Well, I mean, this is an interesting conversation because today's woman is definitely different from our mothers. Our demands are different, our realities are new, and it's not really about us, it's more about our men. Are they ready? I remember there was a time where I think I'm trying to remember the story I had with my husband when we started in our early days of our marriage, and when we started, he didn't have a job. I had a very good job. I was working at high TV. I was driving a Prado. I was flying to France. I'm going back with my CEO. You know, I was a high flyer. And he had this video randomly wicked car, and he was living in one place. And he approached me now. You know, of course, what I liked about him was that he was from a good family. He was educated. He was a graduate. He was a lawyer. Just like he lost his job, starting from scratch. So I knew that he had a good pedigree. It was at that state that I met him, he was down. And dating me was a bit of, for me, but to the average man, and you date somebody that is driving a Prado. You know, my husband's car at the time, inside the car like this, you see the floor, Milan Bridge on the floor because of the hole. It was that bad, you know. But you see, my husband drove that car with such confidence. You see, my husband is a man's man. In the state that he was in, when he comes in, you think he owns the house. The way he stands, the way he talks, the way he commands the room. Even me that I own the car, we actually hand over the car Prado to him. And he will drive it out as if it was my Prado, it was my wife's Prado. I will tell you, oh, it's my girlfriend's Prado. And he's not embarrassed that it's not his own. When I got my car, you know, and that's a few years ago, he told me, come and see Morayo's car. Morayo's car. You know, some men want to say our car. No, it is your car. You bought it. It's not my car. It is your car. And so he celebrates me with confidence and pride. Now, when you have a man who is confident in himself, no matter how high you fly as a woman, he's able to withhold it and stand it. It's not about us being high flyers or not being approachable. It's the men that are lacking the confidence to approach a woman of this time. That is the real fact. A lot of our men have not. There's a story where I think my husband, we entered the room. I can't remember. Everything he was wearing, things were really tough for him at that time. The Ankara he wore, the slippers he wore, everything. My mom had put everything together and packaged him. When he entered the family event, you think that he's the organizer of this group, like we're not going to almost together, because he took charge. He was not what we knew. So even you as a wife, you have confidence. So there's no way I can want to do and say, let me get them, let me sabi. No. 4 years after we got into marriage, things turned around for him. He owned his business began to boom. He started to do, and even with that, so you that you knew him when we didn't have, he couldn't tell the difference because my husband was a man's man. Okay. So that was how. So to go back to your question, it's not about us because we will continue to grow. Exactly. It's our men catching up to speed to where we are.
Is there an attitude that comes with success for women, or maybe for both men and women?
Attitude, well, it depends. Again, so success has a way of liberating the mind. Once you you see things differently, and it's natural. Even a man, once he starts having, so the Nkechi you knew when she didn't have a hand, the Nkechi you know that they are different, but you must recognize the difference.
That's the good things of life.
Yes, but we as women also must understand it. Now, I like things, but you must also remember, you must not throw it in their face. I remember there was a story when my husband wasn't working, and I bought mangoes. I love mangoes. I bought like 12 mangoes. I didn't get a chance to eat it. And he wasn't working, I was home. And I went to work the next day, and I came back and it was finished. Oh, I was livid. How can I buy mango in the house? I came back up and it's not finished. He finished it. I was angry. I called my mom. Can you believe all the mangoes? I said, buy another one. I said, buy another one. And the way she said it, it's just like pot cold. What are you screaming around because of mango? Like, because he likes the mango, he finished it, buy another one. So sometimes, we carry all this weight and thinking that when we have a man like that supports us, that is there for us, you as a woman too must humble yourself. Don't say because I can afford the mango, then that's you must not touch any mango in this house.
Yeah, you're not causing
the one that is providing for now. Doesn't mean that he will not be providing for tomorrow. So as a woman too, you must also stay, because that energy, that urge will be there. So you must consciously tell yourself.
Okay, I like the fact that you said we need to tell ourselves to calm down, because the truth is, I think most women tend to forget the fact that you're married, and if you want the home to be sustained, you are the peacemaker in the house. Just like you said, once you said, buy another one. And you're asking yourself, why am I even screaming? It's a very simple thing that tends to throw people off balance and then give women the wrong impression the society tends to see from us, that when a woman is successful, when she has something, she's now the line of travel of her house, which is not supposed to be. Because we need to find that level playing field. As long as you've embraced that person, say, this is my partner. There are times there are the good times and there are the bad times.
I agree with you, but I also want us to also highlight equally the man's role. So we also need to, and our men too need to understand that, yes.
They need to also see the supportive role of, like, I like the fact that you also made that scenario with the career part, until men level up. Yes. Because I've asked men severally, when you have a woman who you intend to marry, pending when you get married, and then at that point she's in the limelight. Yes. I tell most women, ask the question, how can you sustain this limelight of me?
When I asked my husband something like this many years ago, I can't remember the question I asked, but I remember his response, something similar to this, how he handles me. He looked at me, he says, your official car, your career, everything belongs to me.
It's simple. That's why
plus your car, plus your money,
plus everything is
get them. So what are you feeling like? So and the way he told me, he didn't say it like someone that was defeated. He was trying to educate me. Why are you?
You don't need to feel worried.
I don't pay your rent. I mean,
you.
So what are you asking us? See if I'm not jealous about anything you have, but I own it. It's coming to our home. So I always remember the way he said it and how he says. So whenever those thoughts come to my head, I remind myself, because in every home, as much as we as women must also calm down, our men also must realize that nobody is complete.
There's no competition. Nobody wants to be this head of it. Nobody is. I don't want to be head. I want to just be pampered. So please carry your head properly.
Carry with confidence.
Also carry the
Yes, exactly. So everybody should carry their lady and their
Well, I like the fact that the perspective gradually, like we preach it, prepares the mind of the man and also that of the woman, so that respectfully we find a balance and make the society a very safe place, whereby I don't have to be in a competition. Nobody's intimidated by one's success, or because we have a lot of women who have done amazingly well, and the husbands are behind the scene and also cheering them up to this part of victory. And we hope that from your kind of story, every other woman to also pick the kind of mindset as well, and the man as well.
Actually, I was thinking that, do you think the world that we are in now, because we have Gen Z's and Gen Alpha, you know, the way we are brought up is different from, as in,
the foundation,
their orientation, not foundation. They have good foundation. The orientation they have now is different from what we have. They don't see men as anything. Do you think the society has prepared men adequately for the rise of empowered women? Because some men feel intimidated by empowered women.
A lot of men actually.
A lot of men actually.
So society, nobody saw this coming. Nobody. We all raised to just be a woman, be a homemaker, be submissive. That's how we're raised. Nobody could think or fathom a time that women were in charge. If you go to corporate Nigeria, most women are high flyers compared to their male counterparts. Even in schools, examinations, the girls are doing so nobody saw this coming. So we can't totally blame the men we have, because the patriarchal society was what birthed them. But now that we are seeing, we now have to consciously begin to raise our boys the right way. And that data was a data that came out recently that was saying that the Gen Zs are the dumbest generation in the world, because all that other generations have been smarter than their predecessor. Everybody is smarter than their parents. All of us are bigger than our parents, but this Gen Z, they're dumber than us. They're the first generation that's actually dumber than their parents, because they're not really properly educated. Everything that they're not critically thinking, they're not creating things. Everything's there. So we have to now consciously, how do we manage this new world of men who are feeling lesser than they should? How do we enter the new world where women are now on par? We have to remodel it. And we have to change the mindset of our young boys and our young girls, teach them equally. So we have to change it, but we've already bought this society, whether we like it or not. Our men are already grown. They're already intimidated. It is there already. So they're saying women learn, unlearn, and relearn. We need to start teaching our men to, it's time for you to unlearn that status that women are supposed to be like this and relearn, because men who are doing that have realized that they're living a longer life. Men who have chosen to understand the times, see things differently, get educated, empower their mind, expand their mind, unlearn the bad habits they were taught. Those men are realizing that they're living longer, happier lives, fulfilling lives.
But I think
time for their children.
But I think that is going to take a while, because the men of today, as in what I've been seeing, because I happen to have a lot of Gen Z. Let me give you an instance. My niece. That's why she's in school and all that. She does all these small petty job side hustles just to support herself in school, and she has a boyfriend. And the guy started checking her phone, as in he just went straight to her account balance. He was so furious that she had more money than him. What's the cause of that? That thing caused she had to cut the relationship immediately because.
I think that's an entitled mentality.
Why would that be?
I think there's an argument which is also out there that you don't. Some young guys feel, or some ladies feel very entitled, where you're my partner, or we're in a relationship, you're responsible to take care of me. And that's what that debate trending recently. And then the young men also say, but this is a mutual agreement. It's not a buying and selling spot. Where, so for some in the Gen Zs, they also think that if you feel entitled, I should also feel entitled when you have.
Exactly.
So I think that's
we need to ask the lady: do you have more money, and always depending on the guy to buy stuff for you?
I think
is the guy a gay student? Let's say that, because there are guys that have been taught, do not spend on a woman, do not do this on a woman, and ladies too. I mean, maybe the feminist movement, those that take it to the the extreme, I mean, the negative kind of feminism, are those women that says, I can be all, I am this. And when it comes to spending, they are also refraining. They don't want to bring out their money. So how do we strike the balance, basically? Especially in the Gen Z world?
I think men are feeling men. Because we were also motivated and mentored by lots of women that we've seen, maybe not directly, but indirectly, we are seeing them excelling. We are seeing them doing better. We are telling ourselves we can. When we started Your View, there was no television on Nigerian television where 4 women were sitting out together sharing their views. It was unheard of. Somebody took the decision to do it and create it. And that opened the minds of other young women. I can be a broadcaster. I can speak. I can express myself. Some don't have TV stations. They carry their camera on their phone and start talking. What that did, it changed the mindset. Men are failing men. Educated men are failing men.
That's true.
Exposed men are failing men because they should have. How many fellow daughters can we have? We need more. How many land relations can we? We need more men speaking out. Become models, because what that does is it brings, even though the men have been, Gen Zs have been brought up in a certain way, but when they start seeing men taking decisions to learn better, to do better, to refrain from their behaviors and have better choices, they begin to see something changes in their minds. Like, okay, it is possible. So we need our men to rise up and begin to model the kind of men that can handle the women of the future.
When you talked about men feeling men, I used to have these thoughts that women are more vulnerable with their maybe children. I can sit my child down and tell him, this is a mistake I made, don't make it. But do we have men that are able to, be vulnerable before their sons, to tell them, this is the part I told that did not give me the result I wanted, that can confess their sins literally to their sons and say, don't follow this path. Do you think we have such men?
We don't really, it's rare, but they exist. There are some of those men that do that, but we need more of those. And that's what we need to encourage them to. They need to see the reason to. Mainly because even us, our parents were very quiet. They didn't tell us nothing. I was talking to my mom's sister the other day. I was talking to her about some challenges. And she was like, hey, well, your mom too, when she had that challenge, she said, how come she never told me? My mother passed through something similar. And she never told me. I'm hearing from my sister, my mom is late now. I'm hearing from my sister, your mother too, this thing happened, this is what she did. Because we don't tell each other. But now our own generation, we started talking.
Yes.
Many of us are reading books, we are writing books, we are doing podcasts, we are talking, we are sharing. Helping out the girls behind us. My sister went through this. So men need to do the same thing. We need more men opening up. Not the ones that are doing in this gutter talk, but real men coming forward to talk.
I like the fact that you raised the gutter talk, because I was also thinking about it. Just like we have women programs like this that educate women and all that. The ones that seen on the men talk is, I think, is more of the hard talk, and not much more of them of such program is out there. I think it's high time the men, just like advocating, begin to change the mindset or rent the young ones that life has a whole lot more to offer. For me, I always speak to men who are close to me. I tell them, learn to be vulnerable to your safe space. Because this whole mindset of you're an African man, they cry. That's not the right perspective to sell out to the younger generation. Until they learn to be vulnerable, it eases off tension and makes them open,
more responsible adults,
and to conversations, and then builds up better society for us.
All right, before I let you go, what advice would you give to successful women who are admiring healthy relationship?
Who would want a healthy relationship?
Who want?
I think, you see, I always say something. When you're an adult must take adult decisions. And an adult realizes that in life is short. You are what you choose. You are your choices. You as an adult can make a decision. I am going to eat healthy. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to do this. I never used to do my nails. I really don't. But in the last maybe 1 year, I just took a decision. I'm going to do this. So in life is about decision and choices. As adults, if you want to be successful, want to have better relationships, choose it. Nobody's going to serve it to you. Nobody's going to just say, why don't you? You must make that choice of intentionality. That, okay, I'm choosing to do this. I have a girlfriend who's been single. We were in school together. I think 4 years ago, I think her daughter is 4 years. She decided to buy sperm to have a child. And she has a 4-year-old beautiful child today. And it was a choice she made 4 years ago. Today, she's so happy that she made that choice. And I told her, you made an adult decision. Because adults, we have choices. We have a choice to be happy, a choice to be successful, but because we allow society to influence our choices. What would they say? How would I do this? Hey, should I date this person? Hey, you are an adult. Take adult choices and do what makes you happy. Make the right choice. And then you write out your own future by yourself.
Okay, well, that's not basically the standpoints, basically.
Okay, so today's conversation reminds us that success is not just about achievement. It's about balance, understanding, and well-being.
Of course, Priscilla, and relationships are not competitions. They are partnerships that require growth from both sides.
All right, Anita, at Women's World, we believe that women should not have a shrink to be loved, and men should not feel threatened by strength. The goal is not competition, it is a connection. We appreciate our guest, Morayo Afolabi Brown, for this powerful conversation. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I am Kike Lomo Okere, and alongside
I'm Anita Patrick. I made the time and discussion with Morayo Brown.
all right,
I'm Priscilla Obasi, wishing you, of course, a beautiful day ahead.
all right. So next time on Women's World, stay connected on Global Television channel 365 on DSTV and 276 on Star Times. To stay connected, kindly follow us on all our social media, showing on your on your screen, showing using at Global TV NG. Till we come your way again, we say bye bye.